What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hang 10, sponsored by A1 American. Thank you to A1 American for sponsoring this episode of Hang 10. We've got a lot of surfing content for you here this week, so it's very exciting. And also, we've had some waves here recently across Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach, the Outer Banks have all gotten their fair share. Conditions, once again, kind of an issue, but we did have some windows here with the low pressure system that moved through just this past week, especially Tuesday into Wednesday was kind of the bullseye spot here. Let me actually check my phone at the dates, the exact dates, the 16th and the 17th of September, 2025, being the real peak of the swell here, especially Tuesday for the parts of the Outer Banks. Now, this first part of the episode, we're going to be talking all about why some of the factors that goes into why the Outer Banks gets a little bit bigger surf and more frequent surf than Virginia Beach, for example. We'll go into this in way deeper detail in a future episode one day, hopefully with some forecasters from Surfline to give us a little bit more insight on that. But I want to go through a couple just, little tidbits here to start us off. Then after that, we're going to be getting into video surfing Hurricane Erin. Last episode, myself and Jeff Edmondson sat down and we talked about the swell. I'm going to show you some of the footage that I got from that storm. And then after that break, we will be wrapping up with some wave pool footage from Atlantic Park. And I was able to surf it under the lights. So really fun stuff here. So let's kick this off. We're going to talk about the Outer Banks and kind of Virginia Beach and why they're so different, because you can, have 6 to 8 foot waves down in the Outer Banks while it's 2 to 3 foot in Virginia Beach. It's a really crazy difference. So this picture taken by one of my friends, actually, when I used to work in Savannah, Georgia, one of my buddies from Tybee Island, Noah Williams. He's the local ripper down there, and he's traveling all up and down the East Coast all the time, chasing waves. And the surf contest, ESA, ran at the Jeanette's Pier, their annual event, just this past weekend or this past week. And yeah, big success. Congratulations to everybody who won. Noah actually got second place in his bracket. So congrats to you, man. And thanks for sending me in some of these images here, because he absolutely scored a perfect window of offshore winds and easily, in my mind, 6 to 8 foot surf on the face of the waves, especially that you can kind of see with the people there to the right of that picture. It gives a little bit of context. But this was Tuesday. Now, that low pressure system moving up the coast, it was slowly moving north. And with the clockwise or the counterclockwise circulation, once it moves north, a storm through our area, that blows the wind offshore. So we get that cleanup of that surf. It was really strong on shore pretty much the whole day until we got that late afternoon cleanup. So really, really good waves here. This was just another one that Noah got himself, pulling into a little barrel there, bomb out the back too. He got a couple really fun waves from what it sounded like when I was talking with him on the phone after that day. He was just frothing. So ESA had some great surf to contend with for the contest. Free surfers obviously catching some fun stuff down there in the Outer Banks, especially towards Rodanthe, south towards Hatteras, really turned on. And we also had some windows here in Virginia Beach, mainly the day after. Unfortunately, it was just much, much smaller. The Outer Banks was double to triple the size as this. This is myself. Thank you to Ed Obermeyer for snapping this picture of me. This was Wednesday morning as the storm was still pulling north through the area. Some areas got 11 inches of rainfall. Virginia Beach, for example, the Great Neck area, left the water temperatures a little bit cooler, so I had the full wetsuit on, but the waves were much smaller. Now, they were still fun, up to upwards of stomach high with this one. But yeah, it was a little bit smaller. So why? What is the big idea when it comes to the waves and why they're so different along the Outer Banks? Now, the first thing is the geography. I got a couple notes here because it goes pretty in depth, but the geography. The Outer Banks is more east to southeast facing. That means it's more exposed to Atlantic Ocean swells. The predominant swell direction for us on the East Coast is usually east and southeast. So with the Outer Banks facing more in that direction, it can catch more of that swell. Now, Virginia Beach, for example, the coastline is actually kind of slanted. Actually, I should probably go more like this in the camera. So right here would be kind of where the Outer Banks would be. up here would be where Virginia Beach is. Virginia Beach faces more northeast, meaning it's somewhat shielded by the Delmarva Peninsula and Cape Henry. So that means that you're going to see more blocking of different swell directions. Now, southeast swell is actually more parallel to our coastline in Virginia Beach. So the swell, for the most part, is going to be missing our sandbars. So we're not going to get it as big on a big southeast swell as the Outer Banks does, or any east swell. It's going to focus more towards the Outer Banks because it sticks out further and it's facing more where the swell is coming from. Now, why does all of this matter? Like I just mentioned, the Outer Banks catches more of that direct swell angle. You don't want swell moving parallel to the coast. It's going to miss the coast, or it's just going to be much smaller than if it was coming more at a perpendicular kind of angle, more of a 90-degree angle with the coastline, for example. Virginia Beach, partially blocked by even Cape Hatteras and the Delmarva Peninsula. Now, you also have to factor in the depth. The Outer Banks is much deeper, closer to shore. It's closer also to the continental shelf. That deeper water can help waves to maintain their energy as they're approaching the shoreline. The continental shelf, the proximity to it is much narrower from the shoreline of the Outer Banks to where that drop-off really starts to occur. That deeper water, again, helps to maintain that more of that energy when they hit the beach. The Outer Banks, it's a longer distance, or excuse me, Virginia Beach has a longer distance from shoreline to the edge of the continental shelf. More of that means more friction, eats up the energy of the waves. Now, since the Virginia Beach has a wider shelf, we need swells to also, we need storms to be closer to the coastline to really get the impacts of some bigger surf. Most storms, though, that are giving us the waves on the East Coast, hurricanes, sometimes that are fish storms that are far out to sea. So it helps to be closer to the continental shelf to kind of absorb more of that energy and to keep the waves moving quickly towards the beach. Now, we also have swell exposure to kind of think about. Now, the Outer Banks is very exposed to multiple different swell directions, northeast all the way to south and southeast, especially the east and southeast swells. That is by far the best direction there for swell. The Virginia Beach, for example, more so wants northeasterly, easterly, and more of an east-southeast swell direction. Those are not as common for our coastline. So there's a couple of different kind of factors here working against Virginia Beach, whereas the Outer Banks can see much more frequent swell, more days of waves throughout the course of a year, and more frequently it will be bigger. You know, chest to head high comes a lot more frequently than it does in Virginia Beach. It takes more for Virginia Beach to get big. So a couple of things here. I'll go into more detail on that coming up in a future episode, hopefully with, again, someone maybe from Surfline to give us some more insight as to why the Outer Banks is just kind of the prime jewel, the crown jewel of the East Coast. So we're lucky to live close to it. Coming up after this break, we are going to get into some video surfing Hurricane Erin. So stand by. Welcome back to Hang 10, everybody. Hopefully enjoying this episode so far. We've got some really, really awesome footage surfing Hurricane Erin, so enjoy it. All right, everybody, welcome back. You just saw a video from surfing Hurricane Erin. Hopefully, Gabrielle can provide some more surf here locally. Coming up next, we've got film from Virginia Beach, the wave pool, Atlantic Park, surfing under the lights. right, everybody. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Hang 10. I will see you all next week.